Okay, not too often that we talk. It's not too often that people people are really concerned about a budget that's coming. Blaine Higgs, well, we know, hey, he says it as it is. This is the way it's going to be, and it's a minority government, and people on social assistance, they're speaking up, but they know there's no use to speak up because nobody will listen. And so I talked to David Cohn yesterday, went in his office, was like the great white North, the two-con, me and David. And let's not forget here, and there's no more NDP, Kris Austin, bilingualism, and I'm sure he's sick and tired of talking about bilingualism. But what's his concern about the budget? Now, I'm going to send him an email to call me. And, what's his concern? What is there about the budget? Can they talk about bilingualism in the budget? I don't want to talk about bilingualism. I want to talk about social assistance. And don't forget, the budget's coming out, and there's no pre-budget tour to get advice from people, which I agree. It's just a waste of time anyway. And plus, I had a bunch of grapes from the Victory Meat Market, so I'm very hyper. And let's wait till Kris calls. Should be soon. Because when I send an email, I want a response. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I guess not. But it'd be interesting to talk about, yeah, there he is. Talk about something different beside bilingualism. But I'm an agitator. Bonjour.
Good afternoon, Mr. Leblanc.
Vous êtes dans la résidence de M. Leblanc, puis-je vous aider? No, we're not going to talk about that at all. We're not going to talk about bilingualism. We are going to talk about something different.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about the budget.
Okay.
And first of all, this is Kris Austin, like I said earlier. Thanks for calling.
Yep. It's good to chat, always.
Oh, yes. Big snowstorm outside. I'll go for my walk later. I want to forewarn you, I had a bag of grapes.
You had a bag of grapes?
Yes. Victory Meat Market.
Okay.
They gave me a bag of grapes. Sugar, ADHD.
Hey, there you go.
Okay.
At least it's a healthy sugar, kind of.
There's no pre-budget tour this time. Usually before a budget, they go around the province and they ask views and opinions of people, what they want to see in the budget, what they don't want to see. And everybody's there, the union and the owners of nursing homes, everything. Are you concerned about that?
Yeah, I think it's always good to get out to the public and get input on these things. It is kind of a shame that they haven't taken that route. But if you look at the previous government, I mean, Charles, they did the same thing. They did these pre-budget consultations. But really, at the end of the day, they produced a book which they probably could have printed before the budget consultations because it was all about everything they were going to do anyway. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I think it's always good to approach the public with these things, but now we do have a meeting with them. I think they've been reaching out to the parties to sit down and go over these things, so I guess that's a plus, but no, yeah, it's a little disappointing. I think it's always good to get out to the public.
I think, personally, I've seen it since Sean Graham, my finance minister. You know who the Minister of Finance was with Sean Graham?
Victor Boudreau, was it
Hey,
not?
your memory's good. Me too. Yeah, Victor Boudreau. Bernard Lord, it was...
Oh, now you're really going back.
Me too.
I don't know. I don't know.
Genois Volpe.
There you go.
Hey, I got brain cells. That's good. And Sean Graham, okay, and then David Alward was Blaine Higgs.
Mm-hmm.
So me personally, I agree. I think it's just a waste of time to go around the province and ask the public input. Then he said, well, just send an email to Ernie Steve and no problem.
Right.
But now we know Mr. Higgs, he when he has things in his mind, he does it. And I'm a little bit concerned about people on social assistant.
Mm-hmm.
How far is he going to go?
I don't think Charles, they can cut that department anymore. I mean, that's been cut right to the bone. I have talked with some people in cabinet about how they're structuring social development and giving some more opportunities to people that are able to work. Instead of cutting their pay to go out and work. That the pay should help offset maybe the low income work that they're able to do. There's a difference between people that are able to work and people that are not able to work, and I think that needs to be differentiated when it comes to social development.
But there's a reason that a person is on social assistance.
Yes, I mean, when it comes to, like I said, if there's health issues, I agree 100%. I think any civilized society's got to look after people with health issues, but there's a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are people that are on social development that frankly shouldn't be there. And if the system can help get them off social development, social assistance, I see that as a good thing for everybody.
Like me, we know I'm nuts, and I'm on social assistant.
Well, then again, and I didn't say that, you said that. just to be clear, but if that's your position, then that would fall under health issue, right?
But I remember David Alward was shocked when I told him I wasn't on a mental disability, because you got to be nuts to do what I'm doing, especially when you don't get paid for it. But no.
I always said, how come you don't get paid for it? Like, man, you seem to have a pretty good thing going here. You need to figure out how to coin in on that.
Oh, I was doing pretty good for a while until the city of Fredericton ordered my blog shut down. Anyway, never mind. Focus, Charles. Too many grapes. But people on social assistant, like, I have a story why I'm on social assistant. It takes about 20 minutes to explain, blah, 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 blah. Now, everyone has a story with the reason they're on social assistant. Shouldn't, if they want to cut social assistant, shouldn't they call a provincial, whatever you want to call it, inquiry, and go around the province? I remember they went around the province, the Human Rights Commission, to listen to people, which I'm not a fan of the Human Rights Commission at all. They wanted to listen to the poor. Where did they had the meeting? In February at St. Thomas.
Yeah.
In February at night.
Yeah.
Who the hell could walk way on top of the hill?
Yeah.
So how do we go around and find out how these people end up on social assistance, that they can listen to the stories instead of having bureaucrats just say,
well, I mean,
okay,
I don't know. I think probably the best way, I mean, everybody's got a caseworker to some extent. So, I mean, if that caseworker, could line up, appointments or whatnot on, random people just to get a feel for what, how they think the system's working for them. But again, like my feeling is anybody on a disability that gets social assistance, frankly, doesn't get enough. I mean, they're scraping by, and because of their disability, they're unable to get, jobs. So I'd like to see that increase, and at the same time, a little more, putting the screws a little more to the people that are able to work, that for whatever reason just get in a cycle of living on the system, and they don't have a disability. So it's, I mean, being in Minto, I do see around here there are people that, frankly, I know don't have health issues that are on social assistance, and I don't agree with it. I don't think it's good for them. I don't think it's good for the taxpayer. I don't think it's good for society. It's,
Once you're set up in a routine, it's very hard to get out.
I know. And that's what I mean. You see, and a lot of these people, they say, well, why would I go to work? Because whatever money I make is getting docked off my social assistance. So if there's a transition period that could happen there, that if they're on social assistance and say they get a job that maybe only pays minimum wage, and maybe social assistance could top that off, for a certain period of time to get them off and get them, back into the job force.
Social assistant. Now, okay, you talk about it. They talk about housing. They talk about this. Isn't it time we truly look at our justice system?
Yeah, if that's playing a part in it, for sure. I mean, Charles, we've had many conversations about many different things, and the more I look at all these departments and different sectors of government, it's overwhelming. I'm sure you've seen the report on the Restigouche Hospital.
Charles Murray was right in here.
Yeah,
he came right over my place, and we did 45 minutes, me and him. He's a smart guy. Go ahead.
He is indeed, and he did an amazing report and got right into the inner workings of that place. But it's and they say, well, why is it happening in Restigouche at the mental health clinic? There's not enough staff, and there's not enough people that will work up there. And people in the hospitals in Fredericton, Moncton, St. John are crying out for nurses. How much more would they cry out for nurses and health professionals up north? So you look at healthcare, you can look at education. I'm going to meet someone here to look at a school in my riding that's way overcrowded. They've got modular homes in. They can't bring any more in. They don't know what to do. It just goes on and on and on.
And there's little things like right now, Carl Urquhart doesn't want to. I went against the Landry, and now as public minister, now he's the intern leader of the Liberal Party. I'm going to have some fun with him.
Yeah, I saw that.
They refuse. They refuse to do something about. They pick up a panhandler in Fredericton, unpaid fine, bring her to Miramichi, and force her to walk back home.
Yeah,
or if you're a male, it does the same thing. They refuse to send a memo telling the warden, every provincial jail, listen, this is unacceptable. You can't force people to walk home. And these are people with mental illness. Just a little thing. Is it time that you guys maybe bring it up to the House? Or maybe you could have a chat with your buddy there. What's his name again? Oh, yeah, Blaine Higgs. And say, hey, listen, if you don't send a memo to the provincial jail, I'm going to bring down your government. Power!
Pull the plug on that one, eh? Yeah.
The government brought down because of issues of provincial jail. Can you imagine?
Yeah, yeah. That would be a topic for sure.
Oh, that would say, excuse me, these people don't vote. Why would you do that? Why do you listen to those people?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I had a certain pain-in-the-ass blogger that was getting on my case.
yeah.
Now, okay, so social assistant is just, like I said, it's the whole, it's not just a little thing. It's the whole picture of why they're on it and find out how come. And you're a former pastor.
Yep.
And these people are children of God. We're all children of God.
For sure.
And we can't treat them like a piece of dirt.
No, and that's what I mean. It's not just about being hard-assed and cutting people off. It's about how do we make their lives better? How do we get them? Nobody wants to be on social assistance. If they're able to work, they want to go out and do that. So we've got to be able to bridge that gap, and if that means having a transition period there where they can work and keep the money without getting cut, then that might be a way to do it. But and then on top of that, Charles, you can look at the labor market too, and there's a whole lot of businesses out there that are struggling because they can't get enough people to work. So I think the two going hand in hand.
As long as the person that was working there and they get the person a social assistant, that they don't pay the person a social assistant $11 an hour, and the other guy makes $16 an hour, and the other guy got benefit, and the guy on social assistant have none.
Yeah.
If that's the case, that's not going to work.
Well, that's it. It's there's no easy solution to it. But again, I think we've got to do everything we can to give these people the opportunity to fill some of the labor market that's out there, and government help assist that in any way they can. I think makes more sense than just this, constant generational cycle of people just living on social assistance. It's not good.
Oh, good. Okay, listen, I'm going to cut you off. Just one more thing. You don't have to answer this. I had some Radio Canada and Jacques Pratois were questioning And I said, well, next time I see Kris, I'll ask him. Remember the last time we chatted? You were going to go in front of a committee of a whole with the ambulance. And then you said that you told me right on video that, you're going to question this, question that. And I guess you never asked any question. You want to answer that, or?
Well, according to Jacques Poitras, I didn't ask any questions. I don't know if he had his earpiece turned off when I was talking or not, but I asked several questions to Ambulance New Brunswick, including the makeup of their staff, and he didn't seem to want to report that. See, the thing with mainstream media, Charles, is they have an agenda to sell, and any way they can, get the headline out, whether it's through a tweet or a news story, they'll do it. They're selling a product like anybody else. So I've always said, raw, unedited videos are the way to go. And, as far as that specific case of being before committee, I asked the questions.
What did you ask?
It has not changed. Well, I asked how many paramedics there are in the province. I asked, what the, if I remember correctly, what the makeup was of the bilingual paramedics out of all those that are, employed by Ambulance New Brunswick. And, several other questions.
So how come Jacques Poitras would say that?
Well, okay, so here's how it went. It wasn't my turn to ask, right? I mean, the way the process works, the opposition has first dibs on questions, and it goes to government, then it goes to either us or the Greens, and it alternates. So I was done asking my questions. If I remember correctly, it went to Stuart Fairgrave, who asked the questions, has an ambulance ever been left idle because of language?
See that?
Which ambulance, and Ambulance New Brunswick said absolutely not. So that's a half-truth, because if you say directly, no, I mean, you can go out today and you can find all kinds of ambulances that do not have bilingual paramedics on them today. So that, he's correct in that. But what he's not correct in is if you drill down on it, you see that the reason why so many ambulances are left unattended is because you have paramedics that are not bilingual, that are on 16-week contracts. Their morale is through the floor, so they don't want to take these extra shifts. And then you get bilingual paramedics that are overworked, and they don't want to take the shifts. So to say the language doesn't play a part in ambulances sitting idle is deceiving. Directly, you might have a point, but again, when you look at the makeup of the paramedics and how they work, it absolutely plays a part, and they all know it.
We could talk about that over and over and over, but why did Jacques Poitras didn't tell the truth?
Call Jacques and ask him.
Call Jacques. And hey, Michel Corriveau, worst goddamn report, focus, Charles, focus. And it's not, maybe they're so bored at these committee meetings that they said, we need some action on Twitter.
Yeah, and again, Jacques probably saying that I didn't jump right on it when Mr. Crosman made that comment about the ambulances, and I don't know what it was, if it was my turn to speak or whatever, if I had a different line of questions in my head, but I didn't pay attention to it. And second to that, because, with the new agreement with these float team positions, it's going to lessen a lot of that, so that unilingual paramedics are going to get permanent full-time work and be more likely to take shifts, if they're called upon. So there's a lot more to it than again, the headline that you see on CBC or in the Irving papers. It's, there's more to the story. Yeah,
because you look at the story, look at that and say, okay, I'm going to ask this, going to ask that. And next thing you know, Chris Collin is silent and say, whoa, Blaine Hicks must have said, hey, listen, don't say a word, you. And that's what it looks like, and that's what it sounded. Yeah. And that is not right.
But then you wonder why the main public doesn't trust the media anymore, right?
Yeah. You know what I feel?
Social media, like I'm sure this conversation we're having is going to go on social media so people can listen to it.
Yeah.
There's no editing, right? I mean, we're having a conversation. It is what it is.
That is not right at all, and shame on Jacques Poitras to do this. You know what I feel like right now? I feel like Fox, and you're Donald Trump.
There you go.
What's his name? The guy that
far be it for me to throw around fake news, but you know what I mean.
What is his name? The guy that always calls the White House. What's his name? I don't watch Fox. Who's that guy with the black hair? That commentator.
On Fox News.
Yeah.
Hannity.
Yeah. That's it. That's what I feel like. And then we're just, you can't trust mainstream media. My God. And there's only maybe how many mainstream media? There's only about 3 people there. The rest are all appointed to Communications New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Are we getting carried away? Should I eat some more grapes?
Go down another rabbit trail. Sorry.
Okay, Kris, thank you very much. We'll do this 20 minutes. I wonder how many people are still watching. But then we'll do this again in the future. We'll leave it to 15 minutes, but we got carried away on Jacques Pertois. And maybe he will read this, and maybe he could respond to us and say why did he come up with such a false headline. Damn media.
Thanks, Charles.
Bon Valentin.
Say that again?
Bon Valentin.
Bon Valentin?
Valentin.
Valentin.
Repeat after me. À ma femme, je te souhaite un bon Valentin.
Listen, I'll tell you what. We've got an adult French teacher in our office twice a week. We're working on it.
Yeah. Look at your wife. Je te souhaite un bon Valentin. Valentin.
Yeah.
Bon Valentin. Say Valentin. Happy Valentine.
What are you saying?
Happy Valentine.
Bon Valentin?
Bon Valentin. Happy Valentine.
All right, we'll go with it.
Joyeux Valentin. Okay.
We'll have a good Valentine's in both of us, Elaine.
You have a good day.
Okay, Charles.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Joyeux Valentin, bon Valentin, whatever. Okay, so Kris Austin, interesting. Like he said, the budget, the tour would be good. Social assistant, can't see how many cuts. Educates. It's all had to do with education. And like he said, the more that he looks and digs into these departments, the more he's learning every day. And you really, really learn that the issue is not just housing. There's so much issue. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Kris Austin and yesterday was David Kuhn. These 2 guys, I know when you're in the opposition, you know, good listeners, and you really, really listen, and you can promise anything in the opposition. But you know what? These 2 guys are doing very, very good. I think we should, next election, I don't know, if they just focus on the issues like this, they're going to do good. Stay tuned. All good.